Hi, Mark. How are you?
Hi, Darren. I'm good, thanks.
Wonderful. How's your day going?
Well, I hear Boris Johnson stepped down, so I think that's a good thing.
I'm in Perth, Western Australia, and it was the first story on the news here.
Oh, my great friend Trevor Freeman emigrated to Perth, yeah, and works there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've not visited yet.
you should definitely come over during summer. You'll love it.
Really? Yeah, I hear it's
Yeah,
beautiful. He adores it.
but let's talk about the Phantom of the Open. Wonderful film. I knew nothing about Maurice Flintcroft before I watched it. Um, and so by the end of the film, I was smiling. I was like, "This bloke's a champ." Like he just does what he wants to do, and he saw something that he liked, and he goes, "I'm going to do that," and he did it. So, what was it like for you getting involved in this film? Like what was the process like getting into it?
Well, really finding a more defiant bone in my body, a more like I'm not going to take no for an answer, and I'm not going to be defined by other people's opinions of me. I'll hear them out, but I'm not gonna worry about what they think of me. I'm going to worry about what I think about myself, um,
Yeah.
and and that I'm not so strong as Morris in that way. So that was fun to get my head and heart into that way of thinking and behaving. Um, not to not to stand, not to let injustices go by too, but to
Yeah.
find a creative, imaginative way around the injustice that is done to him. In my opinion, it was an injustice that was done to him. Uh, I love the way that he's very, very encouraging to other people. That I share with him. I've been lucky in my life to live my dream of being an actor. So
Yeah.
I meet lots of young actors, and I'm always encouraging them to practice and to not give up their dream and their imagination of who they might be inside.
So did you know much about Maurice before doing the film? Have you heard of him before, or did you get introduced as well?
No, I'm not. I'm not someone who watches a lot of golf or plays a lot of golf. And I am a great. My parents took me to America when I was 3 years old, and I lived there till I was
Okay.
18. So in the 70s, I was in high school in America. I wasn't aware of Morris, so I learned about him through the script
Oh yeah,
and the
cool.
book, and then watching the wonderful YouTube clips, and then visiting his family and stuff like that.
Yeah, I watched a few of the YouTube clips after I watched the film as well, because you watch the film and you're like, nah, this can't be real. And there's been a couple of films that I've watched and I'm like, yeah, nah, that's not legit. And then you go and do some research. You're like, yeah, he did. He tried to play in an open like what 5 or 6 times or something like that under different
Yeah,
names, and
yeah.
it's just it's just such an incredible story. So you said that you said you went and visited the family and all that. How was that for you? That experience?
Well, Well, it's a big thing. It's a big thing for the family. Their dad, their granddad will be known more now through my interpretation of him than people know him in his own life. Um,
Yeah.
so obviously I'm nervous that they're going to accept me and also feel comfortable to share with me aspects of who he was and what he was like, and go to places, go to his house, go to the playing fields where he played. Just and so I put a lot of time into that, and they have to trust me and to share what he was like. Um, but they're the most important audience for me of all the audiences.
Yeah.
They won't be embarrassed or ashamed um, by the way we tell his story. So that's a very important aspect, and lucky actually when you can play a character who does still have family members who knew and loved him. I actually sat between his son James and his grandson when we watched when the first time I watched the film. So that was very interesting, hearing them laugh,
Yeah.
hearing them go quiet, hearing them weep at certain moments. I think when he goes to Michigan and is appreciated in America near the end of his life. was moving to them.
Yeah, I got choked up a bit on that bit as well. I was like, that's wonderful. He never knew, and suddenly this comes out, and he gets this letter, and he's like, wow, okay, it's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. So I hope his spirit is beaming down and smiling as people, in different places learn about him. But anyone can go on YouTube. If you like the film or you want to check it out before you go to the film, going on YouTube and seeing some of the interviews he did at the time, that is wonderful. I really fell in love with him watching those interviews.
Yeah, for sure. And like going on a film like this one, because it's a relatively what I don't want to say small film, like it's a smaller film than some of the other ones you've been involved in over the last handful of years. But how
Yeah.
does your preparation go from going on like a film like Ready Player One or Don't Look Up to like a film like this? Is it pretty much your preparation the same, or is it a bit different?
I mean, essentially, it's all imagination, isn't it? And it's all
Yeah,
just childish playfulness, pretending to be someone I'm not. Um, um, but this is a small independent film, with low budget, and
yeah,
people doing it because they love the project, and also a young director, a very good actor who's moving
he is.
into directing, and so to some degree I've got, yeah, to some degree, when I sign up for a film, thanks to winning Oscars and stuff like that, I'm an investor. I'm a help, and
Yeah,
to some degree, I'm not a director of film. I'll never direct a film, but I have experience of great directors, and so I know what other directors do if at certain moments, um,
yeah,
and to some degree, I know what will help at certain moments. So I can be a good captain on the field to a new coach.
oh, definitely.
Yeah, not ever try and dominate, but certainly offer up things. And then Sally Hawkins was such a great partner, and she also is very, very experienced. So that's nice. On a film like Don't Look Up or Ready Player One, I'm the least experienced amongst those stars. So it's
Yeah,
more about remembering earlier times in my career when you're a supporting player and you're helping
yeah,
the lead player, because it's often very vulnerable to be a lead player and have a reputation like Meryl Streep does or Leonardo DiCaprio. You're also there working very hard. They're very tired, and it's so you're adjusting where you are in the team, so to speak.
yeah. You're quite accomplished on stage in theatre as well. Do you have a preference, stage or screen, or is it all much the same to you?
Well, lucky me to be able even to answer that question, to be able to be in both mediums.
Yeah,
They're very different, though the essential skill of imagination is the same. What film is much more like playing a game of snooker or pool or I don't know, darts or golf to some degree. The camera's on you, and it's
yeah,
not a sport. It's individual, and you're a day player. You come and you go out. You got no effect over it really. The editor and the director will make your
yeah,
performance. In theatre, you're up there live and you're in a group, and it's more like playing a game of football or rugby. It's a team sport or volleyball, and the interaction, the quality of the experience with the audience is very much up to you. And you can't just do it once. You've got to do it 8 times a week for 16, 20 weeks. So it's a season. You
yeah,
can't just win the first game of the season. You've got to win every game in terms of defeating the boredom that might happen if it goes badly with the audience. Um, you've got to be live and direct and keep it fresh and keep it changing and relating. So that in that way they're different, and in that way it's more fun as an actor being in the theatre. Um, but film has great delights and pleasures as well.
for sure. And is there any genre of movie or a character that you haven't played yet but you would like to? Like if a script comes across your desk and it had a certain role in it, you'd be like straight up, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to play different things and find different aspects of yourself. It's all still yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but different, like I was saying to you or someone today, that how the defiance of Morris about not accepting other people's criticisms. I'm not very good at that. I'm very open to other people's criticisms and have
Yeah.
a very critical mind about myself. So that's a lot of fun to live in those shoes for a while on set. Um, but the whole story is generally important to me. I like to be part of films that have a good story. Um, Chicago 7, Dunkirk, Ready Player One, yeah, Bridge of Spies. I mean, hard to turn Bridge of Spies down when you're getting the opportunity to work with Spielberg and Tom Hanks. So sometimes it's the people that, but I wouldn't take, still, if it was a bad, those two guys wouldn't be involved in a bad story. But if it was a story that promoted violence without really looking at the consequences of violence
Yeah.
or promoted, yeah, hatred between people, I wouldn't want to do that. And if sometimes if it's a character I feel like I've played before, I'm not sure I'm going to do that. I like a challenge.
Oh, definitely. And lastly, just to wrap up, you've got Tony Awards, you've got your BAFTAs, you've got your Oscar, plethora of awards. Where do you keep your Oscar?
Why does everyone want to ask that question?
Well, funnily enough, I've talked to 2 Oscar winners in my 12 years of doing this. One was only a few weeks ago, and then there's yourself. So I've literally asked it twice. But it just intrigues me because Kate Winslet once said that she had it in her toilet next to the sink so people could hold up in front of the mirror. And I just thought that was a hilarious story. So that's why I'm like, I wonder where people do. So
That's a very
yeah.
good. That's a really generous classic Kate anecdote. I mean, mine was in a box for a long time, but I have it now where I watch films. So I have it next to the DVD player when I watch films because that just feels like the film corner of my house.
Best place to put it. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Mark. I appreciate the chat. The film's wonderful, and I hope to talk to you again one day.
Thanks, Darren.